There's a line in one of Shakespeare's plays, and it says to be or not to be. And my question for you is to be led or to lead. We have this hive mind, this hive mentality where we all kind of work together and against each other. We're all unified and separate. We all need, as humans, we need love and acceptance and compassion. We need to know that we belong. And that's just part of the human experience. That's, we need to know that we are a part of something bigger than ourselves. We don't want to be alone and out there on our own. Often we decide that we want to look for a leader, and this leader is going to show us the way. And there are specialists in whatever field that you can think of to be your leader, whether it's maybe you decide you need to know everything about art, or you want to be a chef, or you want to be a florist, or parenting, or just think of the myriad of professions or the myriad of things out there that we can learn and add to our knowledge. And for as many ideas there are out there, there are just as many specialists who are more than happy to be your leader and tell you how to do things appropriately. Like, look up etiquette and you are going to find a ton of people and a ton of ways that talk about the proper way to hold a fork when you're eating, and the proper way to eat soup from a bowl with your spoon, or the proper way to introduce people and the respectful way to do it, or how to walk your dog in the park, weddings to-dos. And it's just, there's so many people and there's so many different viewpoints on all of the different subjects. And you just kind of get to choose who you want to tell you what to do and how to do it and where to go from there. If you want to subscribe to those rules, then you're welcome to choose from all those peoples to teach those. And religion is the same way. Take your pick. Do you prefer a religion that's more rule-based and keeps you in line that way? Or are you looking for something that is more free and flowing and nurturing? And it's all what really works for you and what you're personally looking for. My wish is for people to learn how to be their own guides and their own specialists and their own leaders instead of just following all the time. We all have this inner compass. We're born with it, and it never steers us wrong. It is always there. It is always giving us this unbelievably gentle, loving guidance on how to move forward for our greatest good and highest potential. It's always just nurturing. And if we stop and take a moment and tune in to that beautiful guiding voice, you are tuning into this love. It is this beautiful, pure energy that is unconditional and just accepts you for exactly who you are in this moment, at this time and space. It is forgiveness, it is understanding, and it is compassion. This voice it gives you clarity, it gives you honesty, and it gives you truth. It's not going to bullshit you. It's just going to say, this is where you need to be. Tuning into that voice also brings us healing. It can guide us into how to let go of a hurt or let go of an experience that has really been causing us a really hard time for a very long time. We all have that pain and we all have that weight, and this voice can help us make peace with that and work through that and release it so that we can be better. The way that we react to past experiences often bleeds through into how we are operating now. It's the traumas and the discomforts that leave that lasting mark, which means that we are now taking each lesson learned and existing now based on the beliefs and emotions that we experienced in the past. We've been taught the path that those that before us have walked. And I keep asking and hoping and praying that people will start to seek their own path and their own decisions and their own wants too. With all of the external influences, it's really easy for this voice to be muffled out. And it's hard to tune in if we don't know how to and we haven't tried. We haven't stopped and shut down all of that other noise. I want to talk about the titles and the voices that we actually do hear. As we grow up, we are learning how to navigate relationships and people. We're learning how to share. We're learning how to grow. We're learning how to just kind of be ourselves and function. And we move into high school, junior high, high school, you get a job. And this job is something that is helping to shape where you might be in the future. So maybe you are shadowing a florist for a couple of days, or maybe you are in fast food, or maybe you are working in a grocery store or with a computer and technology. All of the jobs that we try on when we're going through high school and growing up are all titles that we're kind of feeling out. And as we are in school and under the nurturing umbrella and support of our parents and home, it's easier to take those and say, okay, well, I don't like that and I don't like that, and navigate towards our true center and where we really want to be and what we really truly enjoy. And then we leave the nest and it's, what do I really want to do and where am I really at? Or maybe you're still at home and you're trying to figure out what do you really want to do and where are you at? And you talk to people and you say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And whether or not people buy into it and show excitement, or they kind of, oh, really? You want to do that? Can help shape whether or not we decide that we want to be that title. Maybe you really want to be a nurse and you love helping people and getting them better. And maybe you're a male and stereotypically males are not nurses, or that's beneath that gender, so to speak, but you really love it. Do you allow the reaction of the hive mind to say, never mind, I'm not going to follow through with that. I'm not going to be my true self. I'm not going to enjoy what brings me joy and find something else? Or do you say, you know what, I don't care what you say, because inside my heart and inside my soul, I really love doing what I'm doing. People's reactions are often what helps shape who we are and how we are, what we do, what jobs we do, how we bring in our income. We may choose this one because society says that it's going to bring us more money and be more lucrative, and you'll have fame, or you'll have this or that, and it draws us in. But reality means that you get into it and you start to do it and you feel just dead inside, because that's not really where your heart is, and that's not really what brings you joy, and that's not what is in alignment with your center. These titles really help us in a lot of different ways, because it means that when we get up in the morning, we know that throughout the day, I'm going to wear this title, and then I'm going to wear that title, and then I'm going to wear that title, or labels, if you want to call them labels instead of titles. It's, well, I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to be mom getting lunches ready for everybody. And then I'm going to go to work and I'm going to be this title at work. And then I'm going to come home and I'm going to be this title. And it just helps you move through the day. Some of these titles we choose. Some of these titles we're like, yes, this is what I want. I really want to be a mom and I want to bring that into life. Or I really want to be a nurse, or I really want to be a copy editor. I really want to be this. There are some that we choose and we willingly carry. And then there are other titles that are given to us that we are not thrilled about carrying, and we would rather avoid them. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. My husband, before we even had met each other, one day somebody saw that he had an elephant in his house. And there was a conversation that ensued. And this conversation was, hey, so I see you like elephants. Yeah, I do. I like elephants. The next time that person came, they brought my husband an elephant. And before long, he had a collection of elephants. And I don't mean just a collection. I mean a collection of elephants. It got to the point where people would just buy him elephants. Now, when I met him, he had elephants everywhere. And I thought, wow, you have quite the collection of elephants. And he said, yeah, I told somebody once that I liked them. And now this is what I've got. And he had elephants everywhere. So He didn't necessarily choose into the elephants. He just liked elephants enough to have one elephant. And now he didn't feel like he could get rid of all of the elephants that were all over the house because people cared for him and they wanted to give him a gift. So they bestowed upon him the elephant collector. So he had to choose out of that somehow. I was able to help him do that. It's just an example of how it's really easy for one little thing to change from, yeah, I like that, to now what do I do? And how do we get rid of all of this? How do we change that around? And whether in his position, maybe it's that he starts collecting something. Maybe it's that he just starts slowly paring down the elephants and making a broader collection. It was all in what he decided and what he wanted to do. In relationships, let's take the example of a friend calls you up and says, hey, I'm moving. Do you mind helping? And you just jump in. You're like, absolutely, I would love to help you. Let me do that. And then somebody else is moving and, oh, you got to call so-and-so. They're a really good mover. And then another person and another person and another person. And the next thing you know, that's just your title. You are the mover. You are the helper. Whenever somebody needs help, you just happen to be there because that's what people have expected, because in the beginning, one time you offered help. And now you're fixing things and helping people. Hey, you know, my plumbing's messed up. Can you come help me with this? Or my electrical or whatever it is. I need help. And you end up just kind of being this helper, this mover, this fixer person that is constantly picking up for other people. And that's not necessarily a label that you want, not necessarily a title that you want to continue doing, because you recognize that it's draining you and making you tired. So instead of saying yes, the next time somebody calls you up and says, hey, I need this, I need you to fix this, you can say, I'm not available for that. You can check into yourself and say, is that something I really want to do this time? Or do I want to let it go? Think about it in terms of like drama. Maybe you're the person that helps soothe people when they're really having a hard time and you're just always the person they call. It's okay to say, I can't help you on this one, and take a step back. This comes down to you and where you feel good and right. And if you are trying to support somebody else, but you internally are really not feeling it, you're not really able to help them very much anyway. You can be a listening ear, absolutely, but you cannot fix someone when you yourself are already feeling pretty broken and drained from the interaction and the experience. So whatever it is, whatever title it is that you have been bestowed by other people and you have bought into, but you do not like this title anymore, you have the ability to get rid of the extra elephants. You have the ability to say, yeah, I'm not going to this time, and start changing it. You have the ability to start turning the boat around and saying, this is my course correction and I want to be over here instead. Which titles do you choose? Which titles bring you joy? Which titles do you want to have? And then which titles have you been given or have you chosen into unconsciously that you want to change? As we navigate through life, we are seeking, we are searching. And oftentimes, because of this hive mind and needing to connect to something bigger than ourselves, we buy into what our friends and the people around us think is better for us. So instead of saying, yes, this is what I want, through our friendships, we end up taking on this other title, this other job, so to speak, just because we know that it will benefit that part of the hive mind. Did you really want that? Or was it something that you adopted because it benefited the group, because it benefited the hive and everyone else? And once you've chosen into that, how do you change that? How do you say, you know what? I really don't want to be the peacekeeper anymore. I would rather step out of the drama, let you guys deal with your own stuff, and I'm just going to be over here. So when you're done, come and get me, and then I'm gladly going to jump in here. Or maybe you're the fixer and you see that people have a hard time and you want to fix everything, but that's draining you and making you very tired and very exhausted. So you need a break and you need that personal self-care. So take a minute and think about it. What titles do you carry? What's your job? What's your profession? What are your familial relationships? What are your friends' relationships? How does that work? And within those relationships, you are a friend, but you're also, maybe you're the confidant in the group. Maybe you're the cooker in the group. Maybe you're the crafty one. Maybe you are. Like, think of all of the different titles that you've heard people say, wow, you are just this. You are just that. And what have you taken on and allowed to become you? And are you still happy with those? So make a list of all of the you are this. And then step back and take a minute and say, which ones of these do I love and I accept for myself? And which ones of these would I rather take and change? And of the ones that you would rather change, I would encourage you to pick one. Just pick one and say, you know, that may have benefited me in the past and it may have benefited everyone else. It's not benefiting me now. So how can I change this? And what are some specific steps that I can do in order to shed that title, shed that job, shed that label, and find a little bit more peace? It only takes a couple of steps. And once you take those steps, it's easier to take the next step and the next step. And you will slowly be able to get rid of those labels and titles that do not suit you and that you took on as a hive mentality. And you'll be able to step more into who you are and what really makes you happy. You'll be able to really own the labels that are left because you, in your heart of hearts, want those labels. You want to be the confidant, or you want to be the creative one, or you want to be. So I encourage us all to take a moment, find a little bit of joy, decide what we want to be so that we can let go of all the, I don't want that. Shed the weight, find some joy, and soar.